Over 20 years ago, we got the very first Yu-Gi-Oh! Ban list, and I thought it'd be fun to look at the very first cards that were ever banned in the game and see where they are today. First ever card to be banned was the Chaos Emperor Dragon Envoy of the End, and this card was an absolute menace. It was very easy to bring out and had an absolutely insane effect that destroyed your opponent's entire hand and then burned them, while having 3,000 attack. So it might surprise you that today this card is completely unlimited and you can play 3 copies. Keep in mind, this is only because of an errata that added this part to the end of its effect that says you cannot activate other cards or effects during the turn you activate this card's effect, and that means before or after. The original version of this card did not have that stipulation, and it's one of the strongest cards, if not the strongest, in Yu-Gi-Oh! History. In 2004, Sangan and Witch of the Black Forest were both banned for a similar reason. They were just really good search cards. Today they're unlimited because we just have better cards, but they're still decent. One of the weaker banned cards was Yada Garasu, which had an effect that if it inflicts battle damage to your opponent, they don't draw during their next turn, which used to be a pretty big deal because games went longer. But now games are over in like 1 to 2 turns, and if you go first, this effect isn't really good, so this card is actually terrible now. Moving on to spell cards, the first spell card to get banned was Dark Hole, which has a very simple effect: it destroys all monsters on the field. And while this card isn't complete garbage, today it's unlimited because its effect has just been power crept. In fact, a lot of people would consider Raigeki just a straight up better version of Dark Hole because it destroys all of the opponent's monsters, which is an insane effect. Which is why it might surprise you that today Raigeki is unlimited. You can play 3 copies, and it doesn't even see play, it's too weak. But more than that, it's been power crept by a card called Lightning Storm, which you can only play 2 of, but this card is insane. It says if you control no face-up cards, you can either destroy all attack position monsters the opponent controls or destroy all their spell and trap cards. Which sort of makes it a combination of Raigeki and Harpy's Feather Duster, which is another card that was banned in 2004. However, unlike Raigeki, this card is still strong enough to be limited. You can only play 1 copy, and a lot of people will play it in their side deck. Just in case you run into a deck that really relies on spell and trap cards, this will always be the best way to take care of them, so it does still see play. In 2004, Graceful Charity was banned, and this is probably one of the strongest Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards of all time. If you play a different card game, you probably don't really see why drawing 3 cards and then discarding 2 would be such a good card. But just to put into perspective how good drawing is in Yu-Gi-Oh!, the card Upstart Goblin just lets you draw 1 card and heals the opponent for 1,000 life points. And this card is limited to 1 because thinning your deck by 1 card is too strong. So imagine going through 5 cards and setting up your graveyard as well. This card will always be banned. In 2004, Delinquent Duo was banned, a card that lets you look at your opponent's entire hand and then get rid of 2 cards. This is another one that will always be banned. Monster Reborn was banned, and this is a weird card because it's limited to 1 and sees no play, but if it was at 3 copies, it probably would. It's just relying on 1 copy makes it too weak. And as a bonus fact, they kind of remade this card with the card Spell card Monster Reborn, which is basically Monster Reborn but with a once per turn effect. In 2004, United We Stand was banned because attack points used to be a lot more useful, but now this card you can play 3 copies, you can play 20 copies, this card would still be trash. Moving to traps, Imperial Order was banned, and trap cards back in the day used to be a lot stronger. Today they're pretty slow because you have to set them, then use them the next turn, which is too slow for the modern game. But this card negates all spell effects, which is insane, and that's the reason it's still banned today. And up next we have good old Mirror Force. Despite it being iconic, today it's not banned anymore and nobody plays it.